Live.
Good evening, staff, fellow councilors. In the absence of Councillor Frisbee, I am the vice chair and will take control of tonight's meeting. Mr. Frisbee has been approved for a leave of absence for tonight's meeting. And I would like to call to order the Committee of the Whole for Tuesday, November the 4th at 5 p.m. It's held and transmitted electronically via the council chambers located at 39 South Shore Road, Lake Cowichan, BC. First, I'd like to acknowledge with gratitude our gathering this evening on the unceded territory of the Subasset people, where we work, live, and play. With that, I'll look for introduction of any late items. I'll go to staff first. Nothing on your end?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Austin, I believe you had something?
Just under new business, the community services notice.
Community services notice. Thank you. Councillor Sandu.
Just regarding Remembrance Day, next Tuesday.
New business B. With that, looking for approval of the agenda as amended. Moved by Councillor Bamaka, seconded by Councillor Austin. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I don't see any public, so we'll skip the public input. No minutes, no business arising, no delegations. So we'll go right to correspondence, and we're looking at A, Vancouver Island Regional Library Board, looking for 2026 BIRL board appointments. And I'll just bring that up, hopefully. Bear with me. So we can either deal with this now or when I go to the committee and appointments, whatever you wish. Wait for that. Okay, we will deal with that when we come to those appointments. Under B, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, that's your FCM communique for October 23rd. I know that we do get them sent to us by email, but this is for public consumption as well, so they know what national organization is working on our behalf. And there's also one from October 30th. Anything on there that anyone wishes to speak to? Then we'll go to D, which is the Municipal Finance Authority, excuse me, Spring 2026 long-term debt issue information. Anything needed on that from staff? Ms. Gill, nothing there? Thank you. 2026 AVIC, AGM, and convention. So this is our opportunity to discuss resolutions, nominations, sessions, and whether or not we want to invite students. Your desire. Receive for information. Thank you. BC Council of Forest Industries. This is for a convention in Vancouver, April 8th to 10th. Anyone is interested in attending this conference? I would personally like to attend if possible. If it is the will of this body. Councillor Sandu.
I'll move that Mayor McGonigal, if feasible, will attend AVICC AGM Convention. What is it? Kofi?
Yeah.
Oh, Force. Okay, sorry. April 8th to April 8th. Thank you.
Is there a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Bamaka. Any discussion on that? Anyone else wishing to attend? I think it's important, given the context of the forest industry at the moment, that we have sufficient and precise information as to what the federal and provincial government have in store for this struggling industry, as it still is a significant part of our community and our economic growth. So if there is anyone else that wishes to attend, please reach out to our CAO and our executive secretary if you do wish to. I'll call the question on that. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to G. This is ABICC 2026 AGM and Convention. That's your resolution notice. We have till February 12th to submit a resolution should we decide that one is appropriate. So we'll give you some time to think of a resolution. Maybe we can discuss this at our strategic plan if there's anything that comes out of that that may require a resolution for ABICC, and then further on down the road to perhaps UBCM. Is everyone okay with that? Councillor Bomack.
I was just thinking this might be an opportunity for Councillor Frisbee for his sunscreen ban.
We can touch base with Councillor Frisbee upon his return if he wishes to proceed with that. Next, there's an opportunity at the AGM to have student participation program. I'm not sure if you're interested in sending this to the leadership group to see if there's anyone interested.
I haven't talked to them this year.
Okay. Receive for information. And then we have the call for nominations for ABICC executive. Who wants to run for those positions?
Oh, that'd be fun.
Wouldn't it? Shall I put your name forward, Councillor Austin?
Thinking Councillor Frisbee, but
Yeah, make them do it. If you're not here, we know.
that's right.
We don't absentee nominate, no, I'm sorry. Doesn't look like any interest, so we'll move on. That could always change on the floor when someone throws someone's name forward for nomination. So next, we have reports from the CAO. This is appointments for boards, commissions, and committees. Mr. Thomas?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Evening, Council. On an annual basis, Council historically made or confirmed its appointments for various boards, committees, internally and externally. On November 1st, October 20th, regular council meeting, council passed a motion to maintain the current appointments until council reconsiders them. That was because the motion passed in 2024 was scheduled to expire on November 1st, 2025. So we're bringing it back for council to see if there's any interest or desire in making any changes. If there are, please use the second table on page 2 of the staff report and just identify who the primary and the alternative representatives are going to be.
So I will go through them and see if there's any changes. Vancouver Island Regional Library Board stays the same with Councillor Bomaka as the appointment, and Councillor Austin as the alternate. Couch and Lake Recreation remains the same, Councillor Sandu and Councillor Frisbee. APC remains the same, Councillor Sandu is the appointment and myself as the alternate. Couch and Lake Community Forest Cooperative, myself as the appointee and Councillor Bomaka as the alternate. Our Cowichan will change. That will be Councillor Austin as the appointment and myself as the alternate. Cowichan Watershed Board remains Councillor Sandu. Poverty Reduction remains Councillor Austin, Councillor Bomaka, the alternate. The Bearware Group would be Councillor Austin as the appointee. Committee of the Whole will be Councillor Frisbee as the chair and Councillor Bomaka as the vice chair. Finance will remain as Councillor Austin as the chair and Counselor Sandhu as the alternate. Deputy Mayor for the remainder of this term will be Counselor Bomaka. Cowichan Valley Regional District is myself as the municipal director and Counselor Sandhu as the alternate. Vancouver Island Regional Library Board will be Counselor Bomaka and Counselor Austin as the alternate. Advisory Planning Commission will be Counselor Sandhu. I may have missed one. Cowichan Watershed Board, I'm sorry, will be Counselor Sandhu. Poverty Reduction, Counselor Austin is the appointee, Counselor Bomaka as the alternate. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a correction. It's no longer the poverty reduction that is finished a couple of years ago. It's just the Community Outreach Team Committee. So we can take poverty reduction off there.
Okay,
Nothing major, but
so the same appointments for the Community Outreach Team. Excellent. Cowichan Lake Rec, yes, that's Counselor Frisbee and Counselor Sandhu. I believe I have made them all.
The forest co-ops, sorry.
Forest Co-op would be myself as the representative and Counselor Bomaka as the alternate. And with that, those are the appointments for the remainder of this term. Is everyone okay with those? And we can always reassess should there be too heavy a workload for any individual, please. Yes, sir. So I need a motion to accept those appointments. Moved by Counselor Sandhu, seconded by Counselor Austin. Discussion on that? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Next, we have the 2026 meeting schedule and calendar. Mr. Thomas, would you like to introduce this?
I'll invite Ronnie Roach to present.
Myself. So the purpose was to provide the meeting schedule for council for their review. Section 127 of the community charter requires that council prepare at least once a year the schedule of the dates, times, and places of the regular council meetings. So I've provided a copy of the advertisement that will go in the newspaper in December. Staff in the past has previously undertaken the drafting of the meeting schedule with council concerning its requests. And based on the information that's available at the time of drafting this report, we would require council to determine the dates of its public meeting and the venue, and whether we'd be using Centennial Hall or our council chambers. Consider if council wishes to recess its sessions for the month of August. If we are changing our committee of the whole meeting in October to the 6th of October or the 20th of October, as a delegation from Otaki is arriving in Lake Cowichan for a week. There was a request at a recent APC meeting, Advisory Planning Commission, that they were recommending to council that they may want to change their meeting time from 4 p.m. to 3 p.m. But that's in consultation with the commission members, and that will come forward shortly. And if the APC meeting in December would be canceled or changed in December. So we have a couple of options for council to consider: to approve the regular meeting schedule as presented for the advertisement in attachment 1, and to approve the schedule with an amendment. And option 3 is to refer back to staff.
Thank you for that. There is a recommendation at the bottom of the report, which says that the committee recommends that council approve the 2026 council regular meeting schedule as presented, and that the committee recommend that staff be directed to finalize the 2026 meeting calendar as amended for distribution. Any discussion on this? Councillor Austin.
I'm just wondering what date we would decide on for the open meeting, the public meeting. Would that be in May? I see we've got the May 12th, but I think that's our AGM.
No, AGM is June 23rd.
Okay, so something's on May 12th. That's
It's a
not,
special meeting of council.
so is that for
On
something
the
else?
second attachment, I marked it down as May the 4th, the first Monday,
In May?
May.
Yeah, the 4th. Okay. Thank you.
As the public meeting? So does everyone approve the May 4th date for the public meeting? Would you like that added to the recommendation?
Yes.
And May 4th be the date for the town's public meeting? Any further discussion? I know we do have ABICC from April 24th to 26th. FCM in June, so there may be some people who will be traveling to those. Otherwise, I think the regular dates look appropriate. We'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Roach.
I motioned.
It was moved by Councillor Sandu, seconded by Councillor Austin, I believe. And moving on, Accessibility Committee. You have a report in front of you, Mr. Thomas, if you will.
Sure. The province of BC a few years ago passed the Accessible British Columbia Act, which establishes a requirement for a number of public bodies and organizations, including municipalities, to develop an accessibility plan, have a public mechanism for feedback, and to create an accessibility committee to oversee the creation of those plans and otherwise to remove barriers for persons with different abilities to have equity within the community. At the moment, there's a staff report from 2023 attached to this report where this matter was brought forward to council. My understanding from my research is that the decision was made to refer to the APC for consideration and action. Based on the information before me, I understand that no substantive action has taken place on this particular legislative requirement, and I am bringing it back forward to council's attention for direction and moving it forward differently. If council wishes to create a separate standalone or standing accessibility committee, it can do so under the community charter, and we can put a call out for persons to fulfill that committee. It has to at least have half the members must be someone with a disability or individuals representing disability deserving serving organization. It should reflect the diversity of persons with disabilities within the community. At least one member must be Indigenous, and the goal of that committee is to identify and assist in identifying, preventing, and removing barriers within the community. We're looking for direction from council on how to proceed.
Thank you for that. Unfortunately, this is something that sort of fell through the cracks. We did allocate this to the APC, and contravening the legislation as to the establishment of that committee. So this is our chance to rectify that accordingly. The recommendation is option 1 from staff, to establish a dedicated accessibility committee. And we form this as a select committee structured to meet the full act requirements. And should that pass, that we advertise accordingly for applications and consideration for people to sit upon that committee and bring forward the accessibility plan that is mandated by the province. So if you are okay with that path forward, we'll be looking for a motion to that effect. Councillor Bomaka.
I'll make a motion that we go with option 1.
Thank you very much. Move that option 1 is to establish the dedicated accessibility committee. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Sandu. Further discussion on that? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Direction to staff to advertise accordingly. Thank you very much. Next, we have the community recognition, one of them being the Hall of Fame. That was recently disbanded. We have had discussions, myself and the CAO, on the possibility of re-implementing. There has been a number of requests and possible nominations for that recognition, but I will turn to our CAO if he wishes to add anything to that. Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think you captured it very well. We have received a number of requests from members of the public to consider adding further recognition to the Hall of Fame, particularly in the Rec Center. I also believe this matter was discussed at the Recreation Commission, and this has been brought forward by one of the council reps, Councillor Frisbee, as an area of interest. And so we're just looking for direction from council as to how you'd like to proceed, create a committee with a sunset clause to look at current matters, or maybe they sit in the background, and when things do come up, we refer to them, they make a decision, and then they stand down. Just looking for direction on how you want us to approach this particular issue.
Councillor Sandu.
In the past, has Area I or Area F directors been involved, like with the town, like as they're part of the sports arena? I'm just wondering if they've been part of this.
I'm not sure. Off the top of my head, I'd have to double check on that for you. Do you know?
I think the previous selection committee was mainly resided within the town, just for the Sports Wall of Fame. But there's also the possibility for community recognition within the Vancouver Island Regional Library. Now, if that's something that you wish to look at, I believe that would be a separate committee altogether, one for the Sports Wall of Fame and one for community recognition within the library facility that was established in this memo of 2012. That may be a policy that needs a little bit of updating in the future, given that it's 13 years old. But as for now, the implementation for those requests that have come forward to the office, I believe, are mainly for sports recognition. I would hope that we could reach out to the previous committee to reestablish some possibility of meeting and considering some of those names that were brought forward in recognition of those who have not yet been placed upon the wall, Sports Wall of Fame. That would be something that we could look at implementing in the very near future, if not the new year, given that we have some considerable work ahead of us in the next few months. So I will look to my fellow councillors to see what you're willing to do or what you would like to do with this staff report and consideration of community recognition. Any input from anyone? Councillor Bomaka, I see your microphone's on.
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
Now it's off. I'll turn to Councillor Austin.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I know Ross, the last one I went to, Ross, and there were a few others involved in that, the sport one. I can't remember who was the last group. Might have been the skaters. So maybe ask if they would like to reestablish that group and have some other people on there.
Would you like to make that a motion that staff
I'll make
reach
that
out?
a motion.
Thank you.
That we contact Mr. Forrest.
So Councillor Austin moves that the Sports Wall of Fame Committee be contacted to see if they're willing to reestablish for consideration of nominations to the Sports Wall of Fame. Do I have a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Bomaka with a comment.
Well, I would, if we do reach out, Councillor Sandu is right that we should be considering people from the CVRD as well, with the Honeymoon Bay, Massachi, and Yubo. So would that group look at that, or would that be a council decision?
I'm sure that any nominations that came in that were affiliated with the Lake Cowichan Recreation Facility would be considered regardless of where they reside in the West Cowichan area.
Okay, good.
So I would encourage, if there are residents who reside outside of the municipal boundaries, that they also be considered. If you look at the wall right now, there are a number who are on that wall who do not reside within, or did not reside within the municipality and have been recognized in the past. So just being within the confines of the town of Lake Cowichan has not negated the possibility of being recognized. Anyone else? Councillor Sandu.
Again, what Councillor Bomaka said about including Area and I and Area F directors, I think that's important for the committee, and I know that's not part of the bylaw or this policy bylaw. But do we want to look at the policy first before, like, do we want to redo the policy because it's 13 years old? Like, or do we just want to do the status quo that we've done? That's just a comment more than a question, but.
No, good point. And as I said, I think it does need updating, but we have had a number of requests, and whether we want to wait until the policy is refreshed or implement at least correspondence to the committee, whether they would consider re-implementing. And in the interim, we could possibly look at updating the policy to include the elected officials that you stated within our surrounding electoral areas. I would hope that we could at least establish the correspondence to see if there is interest in reestablishing. If there is no interest in those people sitting on that committee again, we would have to advertise for a new group. So if we can do some background work and just reach out to see if there is interest and then go from there, I would hope that we would be able to do that. Any other comments, questions? Ready for the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries as well. Thank you. We have the building permit summary. That's just for information. Anything on that? All good. Thank you. Then under operations, the traffic and uptown parking plan implementation for the summer of 2025. I'll get that up. Bear with me.
So on the traffic study, and as you know, the last couple of years, we've been working on that. We did the traffic parking study. Watts did that for the community. So using some of the information in that, we implemented no buses and delivery trucks in Saywell Park this year. That worked quite well. And we created the bus pickup and drop-off zone on Point Ideal Road. So the safety aspects of it within the Saywell parking lot improved quite a bit. There wasn't the big trucks and buses in there, so that worked well for us. So some of the things we still have to work on is the 1 and 2 hour parking zones along South Shore Road. Like indicated in here, we still have some of the business owners or shop workers still parking in those zones for longer than 2 hours. In the summer seasons, that needs to be dealt with. Off season, it doesn't really matter, but we need to enforce these things. So these are things we have to put in place. And the parking, as suggested in here, we should probably, which we've talked about for a couple of years, um, get a couple of parking ticket machines, purchase them, put them in place, and we can use the tickets and get an app system there's several different systems you can get there, so. And we can create parking, pay parking all along Point Ideal Road. In that big parking lot, we have a Point Ideal and Saywell Park.
Thank you for that. Turn to council. Councillor Sandu.
Thank you. So regarding the parking meters, my only concern is enforcement, is who's going to enforce the people that look at that, say, I'm not too worried about it, I'm going tubing for 4 hours, whatever, who cares? So we have to make sure that we have our enforcement in place before we proceed with this. We have a plan in place for enforcement, because without enforcement, there's no point doing this.
Thank you. Councillor Vomaka.
The enforcement thing is the one with me, because if there's, like Councillor Sandu said, if we don't have a parking or bylaw or somebody enforcing it on the weekends, and normally staff does not work on the weekend, then there's two things that'll happen. Either the parking meters will, people who don't want to pay for parking, it may push them into the business sector. And if it's not monitored and you have no bylaw, those who don't want to park where a parking stall is, thinking that, okay, I'm just going to find elsewhere, may go into a 1 or 2 hour non-metered area. Just my thought.
Thank you. Councillor Austin.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know for the museum, they said people were parking there all day too without, if there's nobody to move them along, then the people coming to volunteer at the museum had nowhere to go, or they had to go a long way away. So I don't know how you're going to deal with that unless we have commissionaires or something like that, which is a big cost.
So there is options within the staff report that are for our consideration. My question through to staff is, instead of meters themselves, would it be a singular capital investment that is utilized by Wi-Fi, et cetera, and an app? So Councillor Frisbee sent an email on the consideration of utilizing apps instead of parking meters per se. So I'm just wondering what the process for moving forward with metered parking is. Is it one standalone meter that is being utilized, or parking meters throughout Point Ideal, for instance, as you see in downtown Victoria? So just clarification on the infrastructure that is being considered.
So what we looked at is 2 meters, one in the Saywell Park area and one maybe beside the community services that will pick up all the Point Ideal Road and the big parking lot up the road, and also have an app system. I've talked to a couple of different parking companies, and you can work with both of them. Not everybody has a cell phone to use the app, and not everybody has a credit card, but if we have both, they figured it works. And then enforcement, definitely, we have to figure out enforcement. Otherwise, people will just park wherever they want.
Mr. Thomas.
I think this would be a great discussion to further in the strategic planning component, because this has multiple layers to it. We need to build the infrastructure internally from a staffing perspective to enable us to have smooth operations for collecting the fees, the back-end stuff that finance will certainly require, the documentations that we're going to require, the training we're probably going to require for our staffing. Then there is a financial component of assessing how much money the town has to invest into collecting all these, into implementing an enforcement program versus how much money it's going to collect from the enforcement activities, and making sure that we at least break even or clearly understand what that investment versus return ratio would look like.
Yeah, I think the ROI is definitely important. Whether it will accommodate the coverage of extra enforcement, or perhaps allow for extra parking spots, should there be a profit made from the parking, which I don't believe is currently the process, but I believe in the summertime, as per the study, we have enough spaces. It's just that they're being utilized in a long-term fashion. When 65 to 70% are being utilized by the parking study, there's still 30% that are unutilized. So if we can accommodate at least having this discussion prior to implementing any option, I would most certainly appreciate that. So we know the whole intent, the whole ramifications of going forward, what it would include for extra staffing, weekend coverage, et cetera, to know what the return on the investment would be. The $60,000 capital investment, of course, is an initial one, but there are ongoing costs, whether it be maintenance, whether it be ticketing, whether it be enforcement. Those have to be considered as well in the full term of the process. I have Councillor Sandhu next.
Thank you. I was just thinking, if we got some back information from how summer of 2024 unfolded, and then also summer of 2025, because there were some changes made in 2025, like the drop-offs. They couldn't drop off going into Saywell. And that took away quite a bit of congestion in that main area when you come off of South Shore Road. So I just wonder, like, are we ready for meters? Do we need meters? Like, how did this summer go? Where compared to the last couple summers, like with a few changes. So this would be a good conversation for strategic planning for the 2 days, and then we could really get into details.
Anyone else? Councillor Vomaka.
I think if we are going to look into how it was implemented this year over last year, would be a good idea to talk to a lot of the businesses, because with the buses not being able to drop off, not having larger vehicles there, I know that in the block that I'm in, we found that there was not the long-term parking that had been there previous years. So when I did speak to a number of businesses and asked whether they were having the issues, and they said not at all compared to previous years. So I just demoted you. So Mayor McGonigal, could be right that maybe we should look at that first before the outlay of the money and the equipment. That may not solve much more.
It is not a demotion. I was a councillor for many years. Mr. Thomas, please.
Yep, from the discussion, it sounds like council might be better passing a motion to defer and or requesting additional information from the administration team.
Looking for a motion to defer. Moved by Councillor Sandhu, seconded by Councillor Vomaka, with the additional information that was requested. Mover and seconder okay with that? Any further discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Then under operations, parks and public spaces, the summer of 2025, with findings on operational requirements. Mr. Sandhu, is this you again?
Yes.
Please.
So
Take us.
parks and public spaces. So as we seen in several years now, the downtown area is uptown area is very busy. The parks, Saywell Central, get quite busy. Lots of garbage and stuff gets left. Garbage cans fill up because we don't have staffing on to pick them, empty the garbage cans over the weekends. The last long weekend, we did put extra staff on to try and see what happens. But, somebody on all weekend long and picking up garbage, it works, but it's extra staffing. So again, if we want to go that route, have somebody on, especially on the long weekends. The other ones we seem to get through, but definitely on the long weekends, we need to have somebody on.
Councillor Austin.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept option 1.
Okay, option 1 states that the committee of the whole recommend to council that staff be directed to bring forward a staffing plan to support increased weekend operations during the summer period, June through September, including associated costs and resource requirements for council's consideration during the upcoming budget process. Is there a seconder on that one? Councillor Bomaka with a comment.
A question. Just a question to our superintendent. Being there's a large amount of, as you say, vandalism with the washrooms, have you ever considered during those summer months, I don't know what the financial implication would be, but to put in the porta potty similar to the tube shack?
We have one all year round, but there's some people that just don't like to use the porta potties, me included. But yeah, I don't know if we need extra ones. Is that the question, or shut our washrooms down and just put porta potties in?
Depends on, like, we don't have a report on what the financial implication is for vandalism or staffing.
Well, the vandalism is usually just a mess in the washrooms. There's filth on the walls. How feces gets splattered on the walls, I don't know, but it gets there, and our staff has to clean it up. So those are the kind of things we deal with. This Saywell just got vandalized again last week, 3 times in a row. It's locked up now. So when we get around to cleaning it and fixing it, we'll maybe reopen it.
Councillor Austin.
I was just going to say for the, oh, sorry, was it you? For the garbage and that, we had some complaints that the garbage really piled up on the weekends, and that's why you need someone to come or put extra cans out and extra things out, but still, whatever works. But it was getting piled up, like by Saturday night, it was really piled up, so Sunday then it was a mess, so.
Yeah. Well, all summer long, like, we have Lakeview staff monitoring the washrooms, but they just don't have enough time. So that's why if we put a one staff person on all weekend long, that just deals with that, and the sandy dump, we can, keep them clean and the garbage picked up and tidy.
Councillor Sandu, anything?
I think it'd also be good to post when there is damage to some public facilities, that we're showcasing it to the community. Like, this is why sometimes the washrooms are locked on a sunny day, is because we don't have the time to fix it, but also just, again, the damage. So I just think we need to start pushing that out there a little bit more for our residents to understand what's going on.
And we're not unique in this situation, for sure. One question, if I may. Oh, sorry, Mr. Smith, you have to come to the mic, though.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment, actually. For the summer months, the 2 last items on the agenda that we're talking about, whether it's parking, or the summer washrooms and garbage, et cetera, I think one of the things that we have to remember is that when we first started looking at a parking study and talking about parking opportunities, we did that because we thought it would be important to collect some revenue for the town. The revenue for the town, as a group, I think everyone felt that that revenue could then go towards helping out with maintenance, et cetera, extra staffing. So I think that's an important thing to look at when we're considering both those items, quite frankly. Thank you.
No, appreciate that. And that is the intent of looking at the ROI, the return on investment, and how the capital initial costs could be recuperated, and the staffing costs, et cetera. So hopefully that discussion comes forward in the strategic plan as to how we can move forward, and we'll bring it back to council for reconsideration and possible adoption. My question would be through to staff with the need for additional garbage pickup, et cetera, and perhaps eyes on Saywell Park would be mostly within the long weekends, in my view, from what I saw this last year. With our recent hirings within Public Works and the summer student program, do we have the ability to alter a Monday to Friday shift, for instance? Could it be a Wednesday to Sunday shift for those new hires or those students who are coming on during the summertime? So it isn't an accommodation of an additional body to hire, for instance. It's just an alteration of scheduling, and I don't want to get into the operational portion of it, but I understand that there is a possibility of altering the shift within the new contractual language. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. But when I'm saying extra staff, it would be summer months. It would be a summer student doing that. We're not looking for another full-time body at Public Works to do that. It's not feasible.
And we certainly don't want to take away from the operational portion of Public Works, considering that there is, a possibility of a water break, et cetera, which, if it happened on the weekend, would be called out anyway. So just looking at the possibilities of accommodating that within the current manpower/person power that we do have. Any further discussion?
Yeah, it would be a summer student. We may look at just getting an additional summer student for those months. That's all we're looking for.
Great, thank you. Ready for the question? That was option 1, the development of a summer staffing plan for weekend operations. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you. Next, under new business, Councillor Austin had community services update or just some information?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I received a letter. I don't know if anyone else did. With the cost of living continuously on the rise, we once again are anticipating an increase in requests for hampers this year. If you would like to contribute to our program, we will be accepting monetary donations only. We also graciously accept donations for other programs year-round. The hamper distribution date is Thursday, December 18th. November 1st was the first day when people could register for them. And they say when they get donations, they purchase gift cards locally in specific dollar amounts according to family size, so people can pick what they want instead of just forcing, things on things. They still get their different kinds of food items and stuff like that. They do a great job there, fresh and canned foods and things like that. There's a toy drive by the Cowichan Lake Fire Department on November 21st and 22nd. I think that's at the fire hall. Sometimes it's at community. Pardon? It doesn't say that here, but anyway, we'll find them. I'm sure we'll see them. And the giving trees will be around town again for some of our local businesses. So they do a lot of great work to help all the people in the whole surrounding area for the Christmas season. Thank you.
Thank you. So anyone wishing who is watching who would like to make a financial contribution to community services for their hamper program, please reach out and do accordingly. I myself have given in the past and probably will again this year. I encourage you all to match my donation. That's a challenge. Please donate to the Christmas Hamper Fund. And then, yes, absolutely. Question on that?
Has the town in previous years ever given a donation to community services for their hampers, like from our grant and aid, if there's money? Is that something that council could approve by not a request, but by, I don't know if there's any money, this is just a question. And maybe you could get back to us for the next meeting?
Yeah, I can let you know if there's money in the
Okay.
made for 2025.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for that.
In terms of your question of can council do it, the answer is likely yes. I say likely because I don't know off the top of my head if there's a policy already in place that speaks to that, but you maintain discretion as a council for who you wish to provide a grant and aid support to.
Thank you for that. And then Councillor Sandu had something on Remembrance Day.
Well, I just wanted to put a notice out there that there will be a Remembrance Day event on this coming Tuesday, November 11th at the Cenotaph. And we'll be showcasing the beautiful crosswalk. And I just want to say, I shared the town's post on 3 different groups, and each site, I probably had 300 to 400 likes, and every comment was positive. So, thank you.
Thank you for that. And I also want to thank staff for following through with that recommendation that came from council, so timely that it is in place. I know we probably put you under a lot of pressure by giving you timelines like that, but we certainly do appreciate what was accomplished, and if you could extend our thanks to those who were involved, we would appreciate that. So please do. All in a day's work, yes. It's the accolades and the consideration that you lay. Mr. Thomas.
Just piggybacking on what has been shared, this particular post has generated over 40,000 views. Our population is about 3,300, over 40,000 views, and of all the places, it's been shared about 99 times, and all the places it has been shared has generated approximately 1,900 interactions, like a like or a love or those sort of stuff. So it has been quite well received, I would say.
And I think we're looking at other possibilities of crosswalk painting throughout the community, so stay tuned. We'll bring forward some discussion on some other ideas moving forward. But kudos again for implementing that. That looks really good. I did get a comment from a councillor from another municipality who gave us kudos for doing this and hoping to implement one in North Cowichan community of Chemainus in the near future. So looking at that template, I think that's the one that a lot of municipalities are utilizing to thank those who have served and paid the ultimate price. So again, kudos. And with that, November 11th, we hope to see a full crowd at the Cenotaph to pay tribute to those who have paid the ultimate price. I had no notices of motion at the beginning, so do I have any now? Last chance. I see none. I'm going to turn to the public. Oh, wait, there is no public. So there is no question period unless staff has a question. But there is a phone number for those glued to the YouTube. For off-site, it is 250-749-3239. Questions shall be directed to the chair and shall be on tonight's agenda items only. You have one question and one follow-up question only. I'll give you 30 seconds to call. So the phone is not ringing off the hook. I want to take this opportunity to thank staff for all your hard work in making us look good.
Can I ask a public question?
You can rhetorically ask
From
a
here.
question, yes. Your name and your
My
address?
name is
sir?
Dalton Smith, and I live on Entry Road.
I would encourage you to approach your elected official for your questions.
I thought you'd say that. So, when you're looking at candidates, for the accessibility candidates to participate in a committee, will we extend that to outlying areas to be on a committee? Or is it just the citizens of Lake Cowichan?
Thank you for that. I think by the legislation that it accommodates within the municipality. So we'll be looking for representation within the municipality first. Hopefully we can accommodate the need for the placements within that committee, but if not, I'm sure ourselves and the CAO will look for other alternatives. Each organization, whether it's a regional district or a municipality, is mandated to have an accessibility plan and an accessibility committee to implement some of those plans. The current CVRD one is in hiatus, awaiting budget funding to accommodate some of the work plan processes that need to be done before implementing that plan. So there are financial constraints, there are financial implications to implement the plans. I think one of the first things that I would like to see is an accessibility tour of our infrastructure, whether it be sidewalks or facilities, as to how you could accommodate those of differing abilities, I won't say disabilities, to have access to the whole community. I think that's important for inclusiveness. When you look at the Uptown corridor, for instance, with stairs to go into some of the stores, that is showing challenges for accessibility for those with mobility issues. So hopefully we can accommodate within the municipality, but I'm sure we can look elsewhere if need be. Thank you for that. Are you volunteering, sir? Good. I think we will have no problem filling this accessibility committee. And we will need council representation, whatever that is. The makeup of that, we will decide at a later date. Nothing else? Any public information items you'd wish to share at this time? I'm trying to extend the meeting. I see none. There is no in camera, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Sandu, seconded by Councillor Vomaka. All in favor? Opposed? Again, thank you very much, staff. That motion carries.